Most men think getting rich is about what you should do. Work harder, earn more, stay consistent. But that's not where real wealth is decided. It's decided by what you fail to avoid. Because the truth is, most men don't lose money in big, obvious ways. They lose it through patterns they don't even recognize. Decisions that feel normal, but quietly destroy their position over time. And the worst part, they repeat them daily, thinking they're moving forward. Machiavellian strategy doesn't focus on effort first. It focuses on eliminating the behaviors that keep you trapped. In this video, you'll see the hidden patterns that silently keep men broke, the mistakes that look harmless but cost you years, and the shifts that separate those who stay stuck from those who take control. Watch carefully, because once you see these patterns, you won't be able to ignore them again. The poverty loop. Poverty is not created by lack of money. It is created by a system of behavior that most men follow without ever questioning it. That is why it repeats. Not once, not occasionally, but across years of decisions that feel small in the moment and destructive over time. What looks harmless today compounds into limitation tomorrow, and that limitation quietly becomes a permanent position. And the most dangerous part is this. It feels normal. Nothing about it signals failure while it is happening. It looks like routine. It looks like responsibility. It looks like doing what everyone else is doing without resistance or awareness. That illusion is what keeps the loop intact. From a Machiavellian perspective, this is not about income. It is about structure. A man remains poor because his actions are aligned with a pattern that quietly keeps him circulating at the same level, regardless of how much he earns or how hard he works. Break the pattern down carefully. You earn, you spend, you reset, then you repeat. The details change, but the structure never does. A higher income creates temporary relief, but the system absorbs it immediately. Lifestyle expands, expenses increase, and your position remains unchanged despite the effort you invested. No interruption, no redesign, only continuation of the same predictable cycle. Most men believe the solution is earning more. They assume that once money increases, everything else will correct itself. But when more money enters an unchanged pattern, the outcome does not improve in any meaningful way. The loop simply expands. Spending increases, comfort increases, dependency increases, but control does not. Because most financial decisions are not strategic. They are emotional. Relief from stress, desire for status, need for validation, temporary satisfaction. Each decision feels justified in isolation, but together they reinforce the same system that keeps you in place. And because the damage is slow, it remains invisible. That is how the loop survives for years without being questioned. The moment a man begins to observe his own behavior, the system weakens. When he stops spending automatically and starts evaluating based on long-term position, the pattern begins to break. That shift is rare, because it requires discipline over impulse and awareness over habit. But once it happens, everything changes. Money is no longer something that passes through you. It becomes something you direct with intention. And the moment direction replaces repetition, the loop loses its control completely. The approval addiction. Most men don't stay poor because they lack opportunity. They stay poor because they are addicted to approval. Not in an obvious way, not openly, but through decisions that are quietly shaped by how they want to be perceived. That's where the damage begins. Because the moment your choices are influenced by how others see you, your money is no longer under your control. It is under social pressure. From a Machiavellian perspective, this is a strategic weakness. A man who seeks validation cannot operate independently. His decisions are filtered through acceptance, not advantage. And acceptance is expensive. Look at how this plays out in reality. Money is spent to signal status, to look successful, to appear ahead, to gain recognition from people who are not building anything themselves. The purchase is not about value. It is about perception. Clothes, lifestyle, unnecessary upgrades, constant need to display progress. Each decision feels justified because it creates a reaction from others. Attention, approval, acknowledgement. But that reaction comes at a cost, because every time money is used to maintain an image, it is removed from building real position. And position is what creates wealth. The more you chase validation, the more your financial behavior becomes reactive. You spend to match others. You adjust to maintain appearance. You avoid looking behind, even if it means staying stuck. That is the trap. Because validation has no ceiling. There is always someone ahead, always a higher standard, always another level to prove. And chasing that standard drains resources without ever creating control. Machiavellian strategy avoids this completely. The focus is not on being seen, but on being positioned. The man who understands this stops performing. He does not spend to impress. He does not adjust his financial decisions based on social pressure. He removes the need to be recognized and replaces it with the need to build. That shift changes everything, because once validation is removed, clarity appears. Spending becomes intentional. Decisions become strategic. Money is no longer used to create an image, but to create leverage. And leverage is what separates wealth from illusion. Most men will never make this shift, because letting go of validation feels like losing identity. But in reality, it is the first step toward control. The moment you stop trying to be seen, you finally start building something real. Drop no more loops in the comments, and subscribe if you're done staying stuck. The short-term trap. Why immediate pleasure keeps you poor. Pleasure is not the problem. Dependence on immediate pleasure is. The moment your decisions are driven by what feels good now, your future position is quietly being traded away. It doesn't look dangerous while you're inside it. It looks like reward, like relief, like something you earned. Small comforts, quick upgrades, temporary escapes that feel justified after effort. But that justification is the mechanism. Because every time you choose short-term satisfaction over long-term positioning, you reinforce a pattern that prevents accumulation. From a Machiavellian perspective, this is a failure of time control. A man who cannot extend his focus beyond the present moment cannot build anything that compounds. He remains locked in cycles of consumption instead of progression. Observe how precise this becomes. You earn money, then immediately allocate part of it toward pleasure. Not strategy, not leverage, but release. Food, entertainment, convenience. Upgrades that provide instant satisfaction, but no lasting advantage. Each decision feels small, but the pattern is not. Because repetition turns small choices into structural outcomes. Over time, resources that could have been directed toward growth are consumed by comfort. And comfort, when repeated, becomes dependency. That dependency keeps you at the same level, because anything that feels necessary in the short term becomes difficult to remove in the long term. Your lifestyle adjusts around it, your expectations rise, and your ability to delay gratification weakens further. That is how stagnation forms. Most men never notice this shift. They believe they are progressing because income increases, but their behavior keeps them fixed. More money enters, more pleasure follows, and nothing accumulates. The system stays balanced, but not in your favor. The man who breaks this pattern does something most avoid. He delays, not occasionally, but consistently. He removes the need to feel rewarded immediately. He separates effort from instant consumption and redirects resources toward future positioning. That shift feels uncomfortable at first, because you are breaking a pattern that was reinforcing itself for years. But over time, something changes. Control returns. Money begins to accumulate instead of disappear. Decisions become aligned with direction instead of feeling. And the gap between where you are and where you could be finally starts to close. Because once you escape the short-term trap, time begins working for you instead of against you. The leverage blindness. Why working hard alone never makes you rich. Hard work feels powerful. It creates the illusion that effort alone will eventually lead to wealth. And because that belief is repeated everywhere, most men never stop to question it. They assume that if they just push harder, stay consistent, and outwork everyone around them, the result will eventually appear. That assumption is the blindness. Because effort without leverage does not build wealth. It builds limitation that feels like progress. From a Machiavellian perspective, a man who depends only on his own output is structurally restricted. His time is limited, his energy is finite, and his attention can only be focused in one place at a time. No matter how disciplined he becomes, those constraints never disappear. And anything that cannot scale cannot create power. Watch how this plays out in real life. You increase your working hours, you take on more pressure, you push your capacity further than before. Income rises slightly, but it remains directly tied to your presence. The moment you stop, the income stops with you. That is not control. That is dependency disguised as productivity. And dependency makes you replaceable. Leverage changes this completely. Leverage means your output is no longer tied directly to your time. Systems, assets, and scalable actions begin producing results without requiring your constant involvement. Your effort creates something that continues generating value even when you step away. That is where real separation begins. Most men never reach this level because they are conditioned to respect effort more than structure. They believe working harder is the answer, so they keep repeating the same behavior that keeps them limited. More effort, same system, same ceiling. That is the trap, because hard work feels productive, even when it is not creating long-term advantage. It keeps you active, but it does not move your position in a meaningful way. The man who understands this makes a critical shift. He still works, but he does not rely on effort alone. He focuses on multiplying output instead of increasing effort. He builds systems, develops scalable skills, and positions himself where results are not dependent on constant input. That shift requires awareness and discipline. Less focus on effort, more focus on structure. Less emphasis on time, more emphasis on outcome. Because once leverage enters the equation, everything changes. Effort becomes a tool, not a limit. And the moment your results are no longer tied to your time, you stop working for money. The emotional spending pattern. Money is rarely spent with logic. It is spent to manage emotion. That is the pattern most men never recognize. Because every decision feels justified in the moment. It feels necessary, earned, even reasonable under the current situation. But the feeling itself is the mechanism. From a Machiavellian perspective, any behavior driven by unmanaged emotion becomes a point of control. If your financial decisions are shaped by how you feel, then your money is no longer directed by strategy. It is directed by internal pressure that demands release. And pressure always looks for an exit. Observe how this unfolds in real situations. Stress builds and spending becomes relief. Boredom appears and consumption becomes stimulation. Insecurity rises and purchases become a way to restore identity. None of these actions are random or accidental. They follow a consistent pattern. The pattern is simple. Feel something, spend to neutralize it. Repeat. That repetition creates a hidden system where money is constantly used to regulate your internal state instead of improving your external position. Each action feels small and harmless, but over time it builds a structure that drains resources without creating any form of leverage or control. That is where the real damage happens. Because emotional spending does not feel like loss. It feels like control in the moment. You spend, and the feeling shifts. Tension drops. Satisfaction appears briefly, but the effect never lasts. The feeling returns, and the pattern activates again. That is how dependency forms without being noticed. Most men never question this cycle because the feedback is immediate. Relief happens instantly, so the behavior appears effective. But over time it creates instability. Money flows out consistently, while nothing accumulates with intention or direction. That imbalance keeps you fixed in place. The man who understands this makes a critical shift. He separates feeling from financial action. When emotion appears, he does not respond with spending. He observes it, allows it to pass, but refuses to use money as a tool for regulation. That interruption breaks the automatic connection between feeling and action. That is where control begins. Because once the pattern is disrupted, clarity returns. Decisions become deliberate. Money is used to build position, not stabilize emotion. Over time, this creates a level of discipline most never reach. And once that discipline is established, your money stops reacting to your emotions completely. Hit like and type no more comfort in the comments if you're done choosing safety over growth. The weak network. Why being around the wrong people kills your growth. Your environment is never neutral. It is either sharpening you or slowly dulling you without resistance. Most men fail to recognize this because influence rarely appears as direct limitation. It does not come through obvious restriction or open discouragement. Instead, it operates through repetition, through daily exposure to people whose standards quietly reshape your own. That is where the damage begins. From a Machiavellian perspective, proximity determines trajectory. The individuals around you define what feels acceptable, what feels ambitious, and what feels unnecessary. If their thinking is limited, your perception of growth becomes limited as well, even if you believe you are improving. Observe how this unfolds over time. You remain around individuals who lack discipline, long-term focus, or strategic thinking. At first, nothing seems wrong. Conversations feel normal. Behavior feels familiar. There is no immediate signal that anything is off. But repetition creates alignment. Gradually, your expectations begin to shift. What once felt below your standards starts to feel acceptable. What once felt urgent begins to feel optional. The intensity you once had starts to fade without you noticing the transition. That shift is subtle, but dangerous. Because growth requires pressure, and the wrong environment removes that pressure completely. There is no challenge, no exposure to higher-level thinking, no standard forcing you to improve. Without these elements, your progress slows down quietly, without resistance or awareness. That is how stagnation forms. Most men remain in this state because nothing feels wrong. There is no immediate consequence, no visible failure, no clear reason to question anything. Everything feels stable and comfortable. But comfort at the wrong level is a trap, because it keeps you fixed while convincing you that you are progressing. The man who understands this treats environment as a strategic decision, not a random condition. He selects proximity with intention. He places himself around individuals who operate at a higher level, who challenge his thinking, and who expose him to standards he has not yet reached. That exposure creates discomfort, but it also creates movement. Because now, staying the same becomes difficult, and that difficulty forces growth. This is not emotional, it is structural, because the people around you will always influence your direction. The only question is whether they are elevating you or quietly holding you in place. The comfort addiction. Comfort feels harmless. It feels earned, justified, and even necessary after pressure and effort. Most men never question it because it appears as stability, not danger. It creates a controlled environment where nothing feels threatening, nothing feels uncertain, and nothing forces you to move beyond your current level. That is exactly why it is dangerous. From a Machiavellian perspective, comfort is not protection, it is containment. The moment a man begins prioritizing safety over expansion, he starts reducing his exposure to risk, uncertainty, and opportunity. Over time, his world becomes smaller, more predictable, and far less capable of producing real wealth. Observe how this pattern forms. You reach a level where things feel stable, income is consistent, routines are established, and pressure becomes manageable. At that point, your focus shifts. You stop asking how to grow, and you start asking how to maintain. That shift feels responsible, but it is silent regression, because growth requires discomfort, and comfort removes it completely. The moment you begin choosing safety over opportunity, you start avoiding situations that carry risk. You delay decisions that could elevate you. You remain inside boundaries that feel controlled. But those same boundaries limit your potential. That is how stagnation develops without resistance. Most men never notice this because nothing appears to be going wrong. There is no visible loss, no immediate failure, and no clear signal that something is slipping. Everything feels stable, and that stability convinces you that you are doing things correctly. But stability without expansion is slow decline, because while you remain in place, others continue to move forward, adapt, and expand their position. The man who understands this treats comfort differently. He does not remove it completely, but he refuses to depend on it. He intentionally places himself in situations that create pressure, uncertainty, and challenge, not for struggle, but for expansion, because pressure forces adaptation, and adaptation creates advantage. This requires a different standard of thinking, less attachment to safety, more tolerance for instability, less focus on maintaining comfort, more focus on expanding position, because every level of wealth demands entering environments that feel uncertain at first. That is where separation happens, because the man who accepts discomfort continues moving forward, while the one who protects comfort stays fixed in the same position. Over time, that difference compounds into completely different outcomes. One builds power, the other protects limitation. Most men will watch this, understand it, and still go back to the same patterns. That's the difference. Not knowledge, but execution. Because now you've seen what actually keeps people broke. Not lack of effort, but behaviors that quietly destroy position over time. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The question is simple. Do you keep repeating it, or do you break it? Because the man who removes these patterns doesn't just earn more. He starts operating with control, and control is where real wealth begins. If this shifted your thinking, don't let it stay passive. Hit like so this reaches others who are still stuck in the same loop. Comment no more excuses to lock this mindset in. Subscribe if you're ready to build with strategy, not emotion. And share this with someone who's still confusing effort with progress. Stay sharp, stay aware, and stop making decisions that keep you exactly where you are.